Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test, now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Hey, yo, Jay, can we get some ratchet one time?
Look, I don't wanna talk. How you try and press the kid and really you was soft. All you know is capping, homie, you don't know the law. Pedal to the metal, you ain't catching me in park. I just hit the stop. I don't wanna speak. Talking all that good, so I just hit you with the plays. Running up the score like Tyreek, I'm going deep. Watch me how I'm saucing, I be spreading it with ease. You gon' see the peace. You gon' see the flex when you hear these writtens. Trust me, you know the difference. I got a long ways to climb before you see a slippage. I see the process and the journey I'm supposed to be, but perplexed, cause I don't really see nobody close to me. Hopefully this ain't wasted and I know it ain't. You gotta take the time for seasoning to marinate. You need the patience and the pressure just to detonate. I'm trying to blow up and these heathens need to get it straight. Gifted with a vision and precision, I'm just trying to make it high key. Might be breaking free like I was Zion in some Nikes. Tucked at the crib, bro, you know just where to find me. Making beats and spitting crack verses pretty likely. Yeah, socks with the burst, boy, I ain't changed a bit. Normal guy till I die, you know what it is. You probably thought I'd give up now that I got some kids, but really nah, I got these arrows aiming at your ribs. I don't wanna talk. How you try and press the kid and really you was soft. All you know is capping, homie, you don't know the law. Pedal to the metal, you ain't catching me in park. I just hit the stop. I don't wanna speak. Talking all that good, so I just hit you with the plays. Running up the score like Tyreek, I'm going deep. Watch me how I'm saucing, I be spreading it with ease. You gon' see the peas. Hey, please be on the notice, these my motives. Bought my chicken and it's rotis. You parsimonious, you take it all cause you a locust. My focus is to grow this mission. A visionary, get a dictionary. We here off the rip and we ain't sharing, we just caring. Let me speak it to the manager. We damage her, no you ain't messing with an amateur. I'm ramming, the competition, they ain't standing up. They fanning from left to right cause now they branded us. Now who that is? Mike Jones, they ain't want me now, they all on me. Got counterfeits trying to play me, I guess they thinking I'm Sony. These big head dummies showing up and out of their character. Homie, you need a price cause without it the squad ain't hearing you. Top of that, we ain't fearing yet. We swinging for the fences with the sting of a left hook that connects with Sonny Liston. I'm dismissing any and all of the disrespect. Nonetheless, it ain't a threat, I'm just letting y'all know who's next. I don't wanna talk. How you try and press the kid and really you was soft. All you know is capping, homie, you don't know the law. Pedal to the metal, you ain't catching me in park. I just hit the start. I don't wanna speak. Talking all that good, so I just hit you with the plays. Running up the score like Tyreek, I'm going deep. Watch me how I'm saucing, I be spreading it with ease. You gon' see the peas, you gon' see the...
Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it, now I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen and we not a minute late. Seen them down bad, now they tryna hate. Same ones try to hit me for the raise. Got a mill, now they coming with a blaze. Check the numbers, fam, I swear I'm getting paid. I'm a Don just like the Perrier. It's my time when I'm looking at a face. On the low like I'm pushing up the bass. Told him come down and I'll meet him at a gate. Got a check and I bought myself a place. They get some money and they blow it on bait. I don't flex but I'm pushing all the weight. Told them all, I swear I got it's what it takes. Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it now, I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen and we not a minute late.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on a roll, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on a roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On a roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on a roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On a roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Frankie Candles YouTube channel. And Mafia, we got an awesome show for you tonight as Bitcoin kind of got a little bit of a pump today, still kind of going sideways, but I want to go over the price action, guys, as we are nearing some potential critical support. Are we going to see a bigger move to the downside, or are we finally going to see some support come in here for a bigger bounce to the upside? And if we do, is it going to be sustainable, or are we just coming up for one of those lower highs before continuing that downtrend to lower prices? I'm going to break it all down on tonight's live stream. We're going over the key levels. We're going over specifically the key levels of resistance that you got to keep an eye on. But we're also going to take a look at the higher time frames, guys, and talk about potentially what could happen here if we do get a bigger move to the downside, because there are some very clear levels that I want to take a look at with you guys. But before we get into it, guys, don't forget to smash that like button. Every 100 likes we get gives you guys some free chances or extra chances to win some free crypto, or maybe even some free Frankie Candles hats, or as I was talking about in the chat earlier, if we hit some like goals here, we're going for 650 likes on tonight's live stream. But if we do hit the like goal, guys, I may consider giving away my my used chair here that only stays upright about 60% of the time. So smash that like button if you guys want to get a broken chair for a giveaway. But without further ado, guys, let's go ahead. Excuse me. And shout out to CandleMafia before we get into the charts, because we got a whole lot to look at today. Maybe a little bit of a shorter stream. I'm just kidding. I basically say that for the meme at this point. Maybe we'll go shorter. We'll see what happens. Bitcoin's still kind of boring here, but we still have those altcoins to take a look at. But before we get into it, guys, shout out to Daddy Longbottom. What's going on? He said Daddy's home. Shout out to Daddy Longbottom. We got Tyler Durden, Rob the Crypto Stomp, Captain Kirk, Crypto Anon, Rob the Crypto Stomp, Chemistry Bro, all the mods, guys. Show them some love in the chat. Let's see. We got Greg. What is going on? He said, you won't give it away because you won't buy a new one. Shout out to Greg. I literally need this chair ripped out of my hands. Shout Shout out to Greg. We got Elite Ways Easy in the chat. OG of the YouTube channel. What is going on, bro? Good to see you in here. We got Mark Dutch. We got Balla. Shout out to you. Says, yo, Frankie. What is going on, Balla? Thank you for being here. We got Caesar in the chat. Crypto Maxi. Jay Gilly. What is going on? We got Caesar in the chat. Hollywood. We got Kalichi. And last but not least, we got Jay Violet tuning in. What is up, Al Jr.? I see you as well. And we got Dan says, yo, what is going on, Dan? Thank you for tuning in. Andrew, we got the whole crew in here. But now, guys, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts and try to figure out what the heck is going to happen next on Bitcoin, because it is getting quite interesting. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's go. So here we are, right? And first off, guys, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hide the TA and I want to pull up here to the higher time frames, because if you guys remember last week, there were some things as we were approaching or getting rejected from that value area high. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm simply talking about these range highs right here. As we were getting rejected from that key level of resistance, we did have some stuff on those higher daily time frames that was making us anticipate a potential continuation to the downside, or at least another little move down. Now, obviously, over the weekend, not too much happened. If we come on down here to the lower time frames, you guys can see, obviously, we got that move down last week, and then we kind of just wiggled around here over the weekend. But the real question is, what is coming up next here for Bitcoin? So let me go ahead and talk about that. Now, obviously, those higher time frame red dots were kind of, one of the main things that we were looking at to anticipate that drop to the downside, and we did wind up confirming that weekly red dot, as well as this 6-day and the 5-day all have confirmed red dots now. The 4-day is obviously confirmed as well. And then the 3-day and the 2-day are obviously also confirmed. We also have money flow coming out here on the 2-day as well. And even on the 3-day, money flow still kind of trending to the downside here, which could potentially open up for more downside. But to be quite honest with you guys right now, just to kind of give you the gist of what is going on the charts right here, essentially, in the grand scheme of things, we are essentially just range bound, right? We have the lows down here at about 63,000, and we have the highs up here at about 71,380. And for the most part, guys, we're going to take a look in the context of this volume profile, because in my opinion, this is the clearest way to look at the market. But just in general, I wanted to point out, very simply put, those higher daily red dots that we were seeing post up on the weekly, as well as the higher dailies, was anticipating this drop to the downside. The question is, are we going to eventually lose this support and come down to the value area low of the range, which at this point is sitting closer to what we just said at about $63,400. Are we going to get stuck underneath this POC and see the bigger drop to the value area low? Potentially, but we do have some very, very key levels of support. One, that is just below price action right now, that may be able to give us that boost before we actually hit that value area low. But just in general, guys, with these confirmed red dots, this would be technically opening up the door to some potential more downside. However, if we come on over to the daily time frame here, you can see that the VWAP on Market Cypher B is coming up towards that zero line, looking for a potential green dot. We also have our money flow back in the green here. Now, I was talking to the premium Discord earlier today, talking about how I am not necessarily taking this money flow very seriously, just because it's been so wonky. It's been in the green, back in the red, back in the green, back in the red, back in the green. There is no clear direction here. But I will say this, if we are going to get a bigger bounce to the upside locally here without coming down to the value area low, I would anticipate that bigger move up to come in on the printing of this green dot on the daily, especially with that money flow crossing over. But again, it's not like this is a beautiful setup with money flow curving up into the green with a clear trend right on top of the green dot on the daily. This has been wonked out for some time. So again, you have to kind of treat that with some care, potentially looking for that to fake out back into the red. But with the information that we're given, I would expect if we are not going to come down to this value area low, that green dot would be a very significant thing to look at to anticipate the bigger move to the upside. And we're going to take a look at some of these local levels as well. But in the meantime, or I shouldn't say in the meantime, but in the grand scheme of things right now, guys, we are seeing some very, very clear price action, right? Obviously, this is our major range. This is what we've been looking at for over 3 months now. We've been looking at this for, 110 days of just completely sideways action. This is what I'm referring to when I say price is really boring, right? People see a move down like this, and they're like, how could you say it's boring? We just got a big drop to the downside, because when you zoom out in the grand scheme of things, guys, we are simply just range bound within this volume profile. Even like this little push up, people are like, how is this boring? We're getting a big pump. But in the grand scheme of things, guys, like even if you really zoom out, like this is just that sideways range. And this is the main context that I'm looking at price action in. And if we are looking at this volume profile as our main range, I will say this, right? Let me go ahead and drag this box, make it a little cleaner. As you guys know, once you reject that value area high, the reason we anticipated the drop down to the POC and the reason why we had a short setup in the premium Discord from the top of this wick, literally the SFP of this wick up here, because we knew that if we were able to find a short setup as we deviate above that volume profile, we could likely get accepted into the range, and then the next likely place for price to go is going to be that POC. And right now, as we speak, guys, we are below our point of control. What does this mean? Well, very simply put, if we break down below here and can't get back above this POC, we are very likely to see a drop down to our next key level, which is coming in at $63,273. It is literally the exact same level we've been looking at for I can't tell you how long, right? Absolutely brutal here. But as we see that we're under this POC, this is the absolute key level that we need to get above in order to get some kind of a move back up on Bitcoin. Now, in the grand scheme of things, guys, if we, the money flow on the daily is very, very chopped up. But, just looking at the volume profile, like this is your key level of support, right? It's coming in at about $67,000 even. And if we cannot reclaim this level, that is where I would be looking for the bigger move to the downside. But it is not only the value area low that I'm going to be looking at, right? If we do get that drop to the downside, we do have some intermediary levels between where we're at right now and the value area low that we can potentially be looking at for some support. And those levels are coming in at the same exact Fibonacci retracement levels that we've been looking at for quite some time. And it is sitting right down here at $64,673. Now, we actually did wind up, obviously, we did get a little bounce earlier today, but that was, and what we were bouncing off there was this more local golden pocket pulled from this little, the start of this little impulse. But not only did we come down to that golden pocket, we actually did have some bullish divergences form in on that golden pocket, giving you a likely bounce to the upside. You can see you have your lower lows on your price action. You have your higher lows on your momentum waves. However, your money flow here on the 4-hour is not necessarily trending up like I would like to see, right? Technically, locally, you are coming up a bit here, but really what you want to see here is like a pretty clear trend to the upside. So not the perfect setup for a big bounce, in my opinion, but, that is likely why we got that bounce to the upside, just putting that bullish divergence in on that golden pocket. I would really like to see that money flow come up a bit more, but with that being said, that next key level to the downside, in my opinion, is going to be this fib pull from this higher low pulled from this wick over here on the let me see here, the 10th of May all the way to the high here. That is going to be, I guess technically it would be this high, but that is going to be the next golden pocket that I am interested in, because if we cannot get accepted back above this POC, we can look for a move and a potential bounce off that golden pocket, and then if we lose that golden pocket, we could easily come down to that value area low 786, and these are going to be the next two zones that I would be willing to look at for a potential bounce back to the upside. Now, why is that? The reason for this is generally, guys, because if we do wind up coming down, this is going to be a high likelihood area to put in a higher low and potentially continue this trend in the longer term back to the upside. Now, on top of that, obviously, we do have that 786 in confluence with our value area low of the range, which is typically where we're looking for longs anyway. Very simply put, when we get bound to the value area low or even deviate below it, that is where we're looking for the long positions with the anticipation of getting accepted back into the range, getting a move up to your POC, and then your value area high. So very simply put, guys, like nothing has changed here on Bitcoin as far as the long term that we've been looking at for weeks. Just absolutely brutal, waiting for price to maybe wiggle its way back down to that value area low. But again, if we are going to get a big move up and we are not going to revisit these levels, which again is the less likely situation, in my opinion, just simply for the fact that we are stuck below that POC right now. So the next likely place has to be anticipated that it is going to be that value area low of the range. However, we know that nothing is impossible here and anything can happen. So if we do get a random pump and we are not going to get stuck under that POC and we're just going to yeet off to higher prices for some reason, that is going to be a very important signal to watch, in my opinion, is going to be that green dot on the daily, which may or may not print while we're live here. It may wind up printing in the next 2 hours. Maybe we won't be live at that point. But if you get that green dot on the daily and we're just going to smash through that POC and come back up, I would expect that to be the thing to look for. Now, if we go ahead and hide the longer-term range, you guys have to remember that we also have our local range here. Let me come down to the 4-hour to get a better view on this. We also do have this 4-hour or this lower time frame range that we're looking at. And in the context of this lower time frame range, guys, that 4-hour bullish divergence that we did put in at that kind of wonky golden pocket, we did technically get that confirmation signal as we were deviating below this local value area low, which in my opinion, the setup was not really there for me to take the trade, but this is typically what we like to see. We like to see those bullish divergences below the volume profile, and then if you can find that entry down there, the idea here would be to ride price back up into the value area low, which we know would be resistance, especially because we have that POC so close to the value area low. And then once you flip that POC to support, that's where you could look for the bigger move back up to the value area high. And at this point, I do think if we do wind up getting that set up to play out, I would anticipate that to start again on that daily green dot. But we're going to have to wait to see what happens here because we're kind of stuck in a pickle here where locally you could be calling for longs back up into your value area high. But in the grand scheme of things, we are just kind of in no man's land here within the volume profile. And as you guys know, I do not like taking trades in the middle of a range unless there is a very specific reason. I would rather wait for price to come down to the more significant levels or the higher probability setup, which in my opinion would be to come back down to the lower points of this range. I simply do not long or short in the middle of a range, again, unless there's a specific reason for it, right? Which I guess could have arguably been that local golden pocket. But for me, I was not necessarily paying much attention to that. I am looking at the full golden pocket retracement here from this higher low, which has not been tapped yet. So I will still be waiting for that level. If we do wind up coming up, it's no big deal. I'm still holding my long from the value area low. I'm also holding a bunch of longs from much, much lower. So I am hedged on the long side pretty well here. I'm not worried, right? If we miss that move, my longs will continue to pay me out, and I will get stopped out of my Ethereum short in profit, which we'll go into Ethereum in just a second. But for the most part, guys, levels all remain the same. We front ran this golden pocket slightly, but as long as we remain under that POC, it is going to be absolutely key to get back above that level. Again, coming in just at about $67,000. 67,028, right? Give or take a few bucks, depending on how exact you want to get with that level. 66,980, about $67,000 is that key level to get back above. But just remember, if you're looking at the volume profiles, typically when you get stuck under here, you are going to see more downside. But other than that, guys, things remain almost exactly the same on Bitcoin, just waiting for things to play out. If we had come down to tap our actual golden pocket that we were looking at down here, I would have taken a long, but we simply front ran that level, and the money flow was just not nice enough for me to take that long setup on this bullish divergence, right? This money flow is just kind of wonked out. Really what I like to see, if I could find a good example here of a nice 4-hour bull div with money flow coming up the way we like it to come up. Really you want that divergence to happen as your money flow crossover is starting to print, right? I guess I don't want to spend all the time trying to find the perfect setup there. But typically what you want to see here is you want to see money flow crossing into the green as you have that bullish divergence. So if you're looking at this as your higher low on price action, what you want to see is a low and then a lower low. And then as you confirm that lower low, you want that money flow scooting right to the upside. And then that is more indicative of a big move up. But here, we kind of have that money flow just kind of coming up locally, but not really a beautiful trend. So you got to be careful with that. But shout out to KE, not to be confused with KT. Shout out to you. Thank you for that super chat. KE says, I call him K because we're friends like that. But love the content, Frankie. If you have time, can you check out Render and ICP, please? Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. Take that into account when you go ahead and count up those altcoin votes. Yeah, we'll try to take a look at Render and ICP for you tonight, K. No problemo. But let's go ahead and continue on. Okay, let's go ahead and continue on. So that's what we're looking at on Bitcoin, guys. Literally a snooze fest. This is literally like watching paint dry. So I'm not really going to cover it too much longer here. But let's go ahead and jump into Ethereum. We actually might do a short stream today. We're going to go ahead and take a look at Ethereum. Go ahead and spam those altcoins in the chat if you guys want me to take a look at your favorite alts. And while you're doing that, Rob the Crypto Snob will count up the votes and let us know what we're looking at. And while he's doing that, we will take a look at Ethereum, or Erythrium, as your grandmother might call it. So here we are. Right, on Ethereum, I am still short Ethereum here. Let me go ahead. Let me pull up my face cam real quick. Oh, hey, guys. Let me go ahead and pull up my face cam here. I mean, am I logged in here? Yes, I am. Okay, bada boom. Just try not to leak any saucy personal information. What just happened? I just came out of dark mode. That was freaky. But yeah, here we go. Still holding that Ethereum short here, basically in the same place it was when we left it last week. Up about $1,200. I've already taken profits on this, up 326%. But yeah, it's still holding this position, still basically in the same spot. Shout out to Blowfin if you guys want to check out Blowfin and trade. If you're having trouble finding places to trade, we know everybody is having a pretty hard time finding places to trade at this point with all the KYC changes and everything. But Blowfin has been tried and true. So if you're looking to trade, go check that link in the description down below and be careful with that leverage if you're new. But for the most part here, guys, let me go ahead and pull up the short. Bada boom, right? So this is my short position. And at this point, guys, I took the position as we deviate above that volume profile, right? Like we don't just talk about it. We actually do this stuff. As we deviate above this volume profile, I found my confirmation to enter here. And then what happened? We got a drop into the profile, stuck under that value area high. At that point, we are expecting the POC to come in. And now the POC is doing what it typically does and acting as a magnet for price. So Ethereum is kind of back above it, back below it, back above it, back below it. This will act as a kind of clinging point for price. And you can even see right here, right? Price went from the low all the way to the high, rejected the high, came to the POC, got back above, back below, back above, back below, back above, and then finally you see that value area low come in. So for this trade specifically, I am going to be looking for my next take profit to be down here closer to the golden pocket. Obviously, that final target would be the value area low. However, we have this golden pocket here, so I'd probably take a little profit right before we tap that GP. But shout out to the voice crack. But as we kind of play around here, this is the key level, right? If we cannot, hold this as support, it is going to be much more likely to come down to that next zone by the value area low, very similar to what happened over here, except we actually had a deviation of the profile this time. So the roadmap for this trade is I've already taken profits. So again, if I get stopped out of this, it will be in profit. But if we do continue down, looking for that next target to be this zone here, sitting between 32.91 and 32.05, with that 786 as a bonus level, sitting at about $3,098, which is going to be a very, very key level of support to hold if we want, right? Like, let's say we do wind up coming back out of here and we do dump down below that value area low and we cannot hold that 786. That is likely going to be the doorway to much lower prices, in my opinion, or at least back down to these lows. But if we can come down here and put some bullish confirmations in below the range, we could potentially look for another short, right? Just like Bitcoin has that longer term range, this is kind of the longer term range for Ethereum. But other than that, just simply still within our volume profile, waiting to see if we can hold that POC or lose it and come down to the value area low. Based off of the laws of the volume profile, the move to the value area low is going to be more likely, just with the fact that this is typically what we see when you get accepted and stuck back inside your volume profile, right? Value area high, get stuck underneath. POC value area low is typically what price does. But remember, price action is messy and confusing, and it is very rare that you just see price go from the high right to the low, right? Typically, it does do something like this. You see the POC, it confuses you, it scares you, but then eventually you do wind up likely getting that move down. But again, that POC is your line in the sand. But other than that, guys, I will say, taking a look at the 2-day here, we do have that 2-day money flow crossover into the red on ETH. This would indicate that the trend is more likely to continue to the downside. This is not my opinion. This is just simply what we see play out on MarketCypher more often than not. But the question is, are we going to fake out here potentially? Not impossible, but just, looking at the facts, or like I like to say, binarily, which I don't even think is a real word, but just, factually, based off the information that we're seeing, when you see these money flow crossovers, you are going to anticipate any bounces to the upside to be somewhat lackluster to put in lower highs and continue to the downside. So not what you want to see for massive moves to the upside when you see this money flow crossover into the red, and that is why we need it to fake out. So I'm somewhat neutral right now. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm hedged on my Ethereum short. I have the Bitcoin longs, so I am hedged pretty well here. But, with money flow coming out, the one thing about the 2-day money flow here coming to the downside is that this is not typically what we see happen at this point in the cycle, right? If we scroll back here, all the way to 2020, you can see right at about 2020, right after that Black Swan event, you see that 2-day money flow crossover into the green. And although we did see money flow come back down a bit, we never saw it cross back over into the red. It was basically, once that 2-day money flow crossed over, it was off into the races. But we are now seeing this money flow crossed into the red. And I'll be honest with you, with where we are in the cycle, this is why I was saying this on Bitcoin. With where we are in the cycle, I am somewhat enticed to take this money flow crossover into the red with a grain of salt, because of where we are in the cycle. But just binarily looking at this chart, this would indicate that a downtrend may be more likely to continue, which makes the obvious target, or the obvious next local target, to be this blue box down here, which is the next target that we've been looking at. So for Ethereum, that is not only what I'm looking at, but exactly how I am managing my short position. So there you go. All right, let's go ahead and move on here. Let's see. Shout out to Crypto Maxi. Let's get it. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Stop. Thank you for counting up those votes and dropping them in here for us. Let's go ahead and start off here with the most exciting coin that we've ever looked at on the channel. And you guys know that's XRP. I'm just kidding. I really just wanted to check in on this because, yeah, this thing has been absolutely brutal lately. Just completely sideways. But anyway, maybe we'll come back to XRP. Maybe there'll be a bonus coin potentially if we wind up having extra time. But let's take a quick look at Ondo. Shout out to the Ondo long setup that we posted on the live stream the other day, which did actually wind up playing out pretty well. I think it was this move to the upside here. I'm not going to go over that setup, but shout out to anybody who was in here watching that. But let's see what we got going on here. So for the most part, let me see. This is, okay, so this fib can be pulled. So full Fibonacci. Okay, so let me go ahead and adjust these levels slightly. Bada boom. Right, so in the terms of this entire, in terms, let me actually grab this. And yeah, I would actually pull it from here. So key levels of resistance, at least on Ondo here, would be, bear with me. Yeah, so local resistance is obviously any time that you guys deviate below a value area, guys. You have to understand that value area low then turns into very important resistance, right? You have the value area low, the golden pocket, and even the 786. This is going to be a key zone to get back above if you want to see a continuation of this range or even a breakout to higher prices. So key resistance level number one on Ondo is going to be between $1.20 and $1.16. So that's going to be zone number one for a potential lower high. And then if we do wind up getting above that level, I would simply just look at price in terms of this volume profile, looking for price to get above that POC and a move back up to your next key level where you have your full, let me pull this retracement, 786 value area high and monthly naked point of control confluence up here. Going to be another very strong zone of resistance. Pretty clear-cut levels here, to be quite honest with you. So these would be kind of the two major zones that I would be looking at, with this level being a little more local and then this resistance being a little bit more higher time frame or macro, if you will. But let's go ahead and continue on. 12-hour money flow crossing over into the red. This is, again, more indicative of a continuation to the downside, guys. I don't make the rules. It's all market cipher B. Typically, that money flow crossover into the red is going to let you know that a downtrend may continue, and with a time frame like the 12-hour, it could potentially cause a bit of a spill down. Now, again, this does not mean that money flow can't fake out randomly here. This is not something we typically see at this point in the cycle, so maybe we fake it out, but just looking at the chart, this is going to be a little bit more bearish in my opinion, but it does not mean that we can't pump, right? This is like one of the hardest things that I have to kind of get through as a content creator, is trying to help people understand that when you see a money flow crossover into the red like this, it's not a signal that you're just going to dump down to zero instantly, right? Everybody wants trading to be that easy, but unfortunately, it just isn't. So if just because we have this money flow crossover into the red does not mean that we cannot bounce back up to higher prices, because this money flow crossover could need a bit of a retracement to put that higher low in and continue to lower prices, right? And we are looking for that green dot to print here somewhat soon, but remember, the green and red dots indicate the ebbs and flows in the market, right? Not the overall trend. So very simply put, when we get this green dot, we have to anticipate, as long as that money flow is still coming into the red, you have to anticipate that that green dot is more likely to give you a little lackluster move to the upside to put in a lower high and continue down, where that first zone is going to be sitting right here between $1.20 and $1.16. And then that second major zone I'd be looking at is between $1.39 and $1.36 at the value area high confluence and the monthly naked point of control. And, don't get it twisted. Even if we get that bounce back up to this high, we can still be looking for shorts up here if that money flow continues to the downside. 16-hour money flow crossing over into the red as well. Daily money flow is on its way out. This is not necessarily what you want to see. You do have a little bullish divergence here on the 16-hour, but money flow is just not confluent here. So again, short term, maybe you bounce, but in the long term, I would be very careful at these key levels of resistance. I would even put a box around this POC as well. Just because that could be a big place to reject as well. If you guys watch the show, you will know oftentimes when you reject out of these volume profiles, if you are going to come up before getting the big move down, a lot of times price will come up and test that point of control, and that is just how it works sometimes. So those are going to be the key levels, and what I would anticipate not only in the short term, potential bounce, but also in the long term, potential lower high and continuation to the downside. And, this is not just based on, we've been talking about this a lot. I even talked about this earlier with the Discord. It's not just money flow that makes us anticipate that continued trend, but it is also just simply market structure, guys. Once you wind up getting that change of character, that bearish change of character, this indicates that price is likely changing trends. But in order to change those trends, you have to get retracements to the upside. So you get a bearish change of character, then the highest probability trades to look for here, in my opinion, are typically shorts. Right? This candles turn purple. You get the bearish change of character. This is Lux Algo, by the way. It's why the candlesticks turn purple. But you get that bearish change of character. Candlesticks turn purple. At this point, you are in short zone, right? You have your short goggles on, looking for those potential short entries. And then what happens is if you do get a bounce to the upside, this is where you're looking for those lower highs to come in, which is, again, why we're looking at those zones, right? So there you go. That is what I'd be looking at on Ondo. And if you guys want to sign up and try out Lux Algo, nope, not that. Where is it? Bada boom, bada bing. Where's my OBS? If you guys want to check out Lux Algo, link in the description down below if you want to get that automatic market structure labeling, as well as some other awesome indicators that they offer. You could save some money with the links in the description down below. I think they do still do the 30-day money-back guarantee, so go check that out. It is literally risk-free. And real quick, I do want to just come on over to Bitcoin real quick here, turn off the TA, and just look at the daily. And I also want to take a look at the Smart Trail, because as you guys can see here, not only are we coming down to some key Fibonacci levels, right? We've just front ran the fib I was looking at. We did technically tap this higher fib, but we are also just taking off all the TA guys coming into this daily Smart Trail. So this is kind of like, again, just like that POC is a very key level to get back above to see higher prices. If we get stuck under this POC, this Smart Trail on the daily, this blue wave will likely flip red, which will be pretty bearish in my opinion. So this is like, oh God, guys, right? Like you get the change of character, the bullish change of character, price comes up. We technically have a bearish change of character here, but if we are going to look, shout out to the Mafia. We've gone over this many, many times. Let me hide the TA here real quick. But when you have those changes of character, oftentimes you are going, that's when we say you're going to be in long mode, right? You get a bullish change of character. This is where you're looking for longs. If you have a bearish change of character, this is where you're looking for shorts. We're kind of in between right now. But I do just want to show if we were to hold the golden pocket that we just bounced off of, and let's say we are going to get a bigger move to the upside, this is not that uncommon where you have the change of character and then you come back for a macro retracement. You get a little fake out bearish change of character here. But if you hold that Smart Trail, it could be the thing to support for that bigger move up, which remember, we are also going to be looking at that daily green dot on Market Cipher to potentially start the move. So I just want to show that that daily Smart Trail is going to be something to look at as well. Like this is your last line of support before we probably come back down to the bottom of the range, closer to $63,000. So there you go. Let's see, bada boom, bada bing. Hey, what's up, Jimmy with a stimmy? What's going on, brother? Good to see you in here. Let's see, bada boom, bada bing. Don't forget to smash that like button, guys. Hang on. Oh, shout out to the poll here. I said, did you smash the like button? Of course, and one of the options was, of course, I love puppies. And then, I hate puppies. 19% of the Mafia hates puppies. I can't imagine that being the truth. But shout out to you guys. All right, let's see. All right, let's go ahead and continue on. Shout out to Daddy Longbottom said, Frankie, what are you looking at for lower on Bitcoin? Well, potentially a loss of this Smart Trail, but really what I'd be looking at, just more simply, just looking at the regular TA here. Let me pull up the current. It would be really, this is the line, right? Like if we cannot get above this POC and hold it as support, that is what I'd be looking at for lower prices, coming down to about 63.4. So shout out to Daddy Longbottom. There you go. That is what I'm going to be looking at. All right, let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Yo, shout out to Dave Hagen. He said YouTube hid my like button with its new layout. Thankfully, I found it. Shout out to you, brother. Where am I looking for? Lower high. Yeah, so for that potential, there's a few different areas we can look, but for the most part, I'll just give you the most local area that we could potentially reject, and that is going to be essentially... where is it? Okay. This zone here, right? This basically the area that we have already approached. If we do get a push up into this zone here, not only do we have the POC value area low, but we also have this local Fibonacci retracement. Where's the actual low? There it is. So we've already tapped this golden pocket, but if we do get another move up, the 786 sits right within this zone between the POC and value area low. So if we do come back up, this could be a likely place to put the lower high in if we get it to continue back to the downside. This would be kind of the first major zone that I would be looking at. No guarantees that we reject there, but that's kind of the first local area of resistance. Dr. Crimson's girlfriend in the chat, what is going on? Coin Hoover said, no, I lost my membership. Darn. Bro, Golden. Shout out to Golden. All right, let's go ahead and continue on here. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Singularity. What is going on? Said you missed a super chat, and he is right. He said, Ken Big, thank you for the super chat, by the way. He said, Ken, big time recover, looks terrible. What do you think? Shout out to Singularity. Let's take a quick look. I won't do the full TA here, but I will see what we got going on. I'll do some general TA. Bada boom, bada bing. Oh, dang, man. This thing really has taken a bit of a dump ski. Oh, boy. Let's see. Shout out to Singularity. I will come back to this and do some full TA. This doesn't look... let's see here. Let me see if I can pull up the MEXC chart. Yeah, we can take a full look at this in a second. Let's get through our alt list, and then I will go ahead and drop in on big time real quick before we jump out. But let's go ahead and look at Jasmine. Wow, we have not taken a look at Jasmine in some time. Let's see here. Bada boom, bada bing. Well, hey. This had to have been... Yeah, this had to have been... Yeah, so our next target did wind up getting hit. Because we have not looked at this in a long time. So I assume that we probably weren't up at this level last time we looked at this. But this is just a simple golden pocket 786 retracement pulled from this high all the way to the bear market low, or I guess all the way to the current low on Jasmine. And there we are, right? Just got in for that 786 retracement. Let's go ahead, pull up market cipher here. We do have a 3-day bearish divergence, 5-day bearish divergence, 6-day bear div, weekly bear div printing on big time. On Jasmine, I'm sorry. This would potentially be calling for more downside, right? Or not more downside, but a potential cool off, right? Because you got that big move up, right? Consolidation, little bull flag, bull pennant type situation, another breakout into another key zone of resistance, and you put that bear div into that key level of resistance, which is very important to see. And then you have the lower highs on your momentum waves. Money flow doesn't look too bad, though, so that's a good sign. So I wouldn't necessarily expect this to just completely break down. However, being that money flow is still in the green here, even if this bear div does play out, I would be looking at it more as a cool-off to put in a higher low and a continuation to the upside, right? Just based off the weekly money flow at least. But weekly bear div printing, that is definitely something you want to keep in mind. So don't forget about that. Okay, let's go ahead and continue on here. 5-day red bear div also printing. But let's go ahead and come on over to the daily. So yeah, daily green dot is printing. But again, remember, guys, with these higher time frames, the 6-day, the 5-day, the 3-day, etc., this is more... These take time to play out, right? So if that daily green dot gives us another bounce to the upside, you could just wiggle around up here a little bit, or maybe it eats you up. But for the most part, if this weekly bear div is going to play out, it will likely take time, right? I wouldn't expect this just to dump down to 0 tomorrow, or at all, really. I would just look for that higher low. But, I wouldn't expect this to play out like today or tonight or anything like that. It may take a few days to actually present itself, or maybe it confirms and then you see the move down. But this is definitely something you want to keep an eye on. This is kind of like a macro bearish signal, at least in the term, in the context of the weekly time frame. Doesn't mean I'm bearish on the asset. It just means within the context of what we're seeing, right? So technically it would be bearish until you put that higher low in. So I'm technically long-term bullish, medium-term bearish, right? Looking for a cool-off. And then if we come down to some key levels, you could look for a higher low to potentially enter a new long position. But for the most part, weekly bear div equals bearish puzzle piece, right? So it's one piece of evidence you have for the bears. And then again, 2-day VWAP coming up. Yeah, I'll be honest with you guys. Could be a high likelihood that you chop around up here. 12-hour looking for the red dot. Are we getting an 8-hour red dot? Ooh, baby. So I'll tell you this. Here is what I would look for. Money flow coming out on the 30-minute. This is, I won't show it because I don't want to, it's not really fair for the people who pay in the premium. But with this 8-hour, or with this 30-minute money flow coming out very nicely here, this would make us anticipate a potential move to the downside. And when you see this 8-hour red dot about to print here, if we get that 8-hour red dot and then finally see that 30-minute money flow crossover into the red, this could indicate a much bigger move to the downside, and that could potentially start the move down that we would expect off that weekly bear div. So, yeah, I'll say this. On Jasmy, if you get that red dot on the 8-hour, and at the same time you see that money flow crossover into the red on the 30-minute, that is where I'd anticipate the bigger move down. This is typically where I'll put a horizontal line or a vertical line and say, if we get money flow crossover into red, this starts move down, right? And, this is something that we look at oftentimes, right? And then when you go back in time, right? Like, look, money flow crossover into the green here. If we had an 8-hour green dot, let's actually see if we got it. Let's see. Yeah, right on that 8-hour green dot, you had this 30-minute money flow crossover into the green. And once that money flow crossed over, what happened? Well, you got a little move down, but that's essentially that money flow crossover into the green was the start of that bigger move to the upside. Same thing, but in the opposite direction here. And we can go back and check this tomorrow. It's not going to be a 100% hit rate, but oftentimes when you see that setup with the 8-hour red dot and the 30-minute money flow crossover into the red, that money flow crossover gives you the move to the downside. We look at this almost every single day. Shout out to Ant Art. Shout out to Ant Art. I was actually thinking about you the other night. I forgot what I was watching something, and someone brought up like an NFT person that had a very similar name to you. It wasn't the same, but it was very similar. It made me think of you. Shout out to Ant Art. But let's go ahead and see here. DJ Johnny said Frankie had a reset there. Shout out to DJ Johnny. But let's see. Shout out to Sierra says, Frank, love the stream. It's not just the TA, it's the swag, bro. Keep up the hard work. I know it's crazy sometimes, but that brings the best out in people. Shout out to Sierra. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for the kind words. Sierra knows. Shout out to Dr. Crimson's girlfriend. But yeah, let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue on. Shout out to Sierra. And Greg says, but if you don't show us, hang on. Shout out to Greg said, but if you don't show us what you give them, then how are we going to want to go there? Well, shout out to Greg. I'm actually really glad you asked that. I'm actually going to pull up my face camera. Shout out to Greg. If you want to get a little taste of the premium Discord, I think he's talking about the premium Discord because I said I don't want to. But then he said, how are we supposed to want to get in there if we don't know what you put in there? Well, shout out to Greg. If you guys come on over, let me pull it up real quick. If you guys come on over to the free Discord and come on over to the dining room and click on unlock access, you'll figure out how you can get access to our dining room, which is kind of like our freemium section of the Discord, where you'll have some extra sauce here. We put weekly premium TA posts from the premium Discord. I don't know if I want to leak that either, just because it's not fair for the people who signed up to get in here, but I'll just leak it a little bit. But we do put weekly TA posts in here from the premium Discord. So once a week, you get a post from the actual premium Discord. And I mean, shout out to this setup. This setup here was literally the short from the absolute high on Bitcoin here, or not the absolute high, but the high right here. That short setup was shared. I didn't even know that one got shared. It's always kind of random, but there you go. In the dining room, given for free. So if you guys want to check out kind of what I do in the Discord and how it works, you can check out the dining room, which gives you one free weekly post, but we do this every single day in the premium. So there you go. And then you also get Altcoin Alpha as well as the Airdrop Watch, where we have Chemistry Bro and a lot of the other mods in here helping out with these channels, dropping some extra sauce as well. We also have the Token Metrics channel, which shout out to Tony D. He drops a lot of Token Metrics sauce in there as well. Probably a lot more content on Token Metrics to come very soon. If you guys are looking to try to spot that next 100x gem, this is a tool that we like to use, and it has worked out very, very well. So you guys can check out the free Discord to get up in there. And Greg, that should answer your question almost perfectly. That's how you could find out for free. It's like a free trial almost, but it just doesn't end. But let's go ahead and continue on here. Shout out to the Biomex. What is going on? Thank you for being here. But let's go ahead and jump on into, we took a look at Jasmine. Let's take a look at Matic, or Matic, as some people like to call it. By the way, guys, no Aztecian Cactus Moss Water here today. I'm just going to have to do a free promotion. Just drinking straight Red Bull today. That's it. Let's go ahead and see. Shout out to Dan Ludwig, said, I'm about to join the premium Discord. We'll see you in there, brother. And if you want to get that free taste, check out the, and like I said, guys, I am not here to just, the one thing I will say, right, it is not a signals group. I like to be very, very clear about this, right? It is not a signals group. I don't go in there and say buy now, sell now. This is not what that Discord is for, but what I do is I put the spoon-fed trade setups and tell you guys exactly what I'm looking for before price even gets to the level, so you can set alerts, and then you'll get alerted when price is at that key level, and then we look for very specific confirmations to enter, but it is not a signals group. That is not how trading works. The reason I don't do that is because that is not how trading works. You can't just get in a Discord and buy when someone tells you to buy and sell when they tell you to sell. If that was a way to make money, I probably would have never learned how to trade. I would have just gotten into a Discord, and I probably would have just taken the buy and sell signals and probably made a bot to follow those signals, so I never had to work another day in my life. If you know somebody who has a bot that just makes them $1 million a year, please let me know, because I'd like to take that bot or learn how to make it. But yeah, it's not a signals group. It is a TA and premium trade setup Discord, and it's also very educational. We do 2 live streams a week where I sit down with the Discord, and they ask questions, and I answer them directly, and we go over it. Very educational. But you get the spoon-fed trade setups. It is not a signals group at all. That's not what we do, but it doesn't mean you don't get the trade setups. I actually show you how to trade and what I look for to trade, so you guys are not a complete slave to my TA every day. You can actually take what I teach you and apply it other places. It's super saucy, so check it out if you want. And if not, not a singles group. Okay, back to Tinder. Shout out to Mark Dutch. Yo, you guys are... Oh, God. Like, we all must have been really good friends in another time, in another lifetime, I swear. You guys literally have the same humor as me. Mark, he's smart. Another Mark says, Tinder, am I in the wrong stream? Shout out to the Marks out there, man. You guys are crazy. Mark Dutch, you got me cracking up, bro. Manaj says, super saucy. Let's go. We're friends now? Rob the Crypto Stop said we're friends now? Rob, we've been friends, buddy. We've been friends. Can't get rid of me now. We're stuck. All right, let's see. I was your dog, very loyal. Shout out to Jay Gilly. All right, let's go ahead and continue on. So taking a look at the daily on Matic. Here we are just front running that key level. As we deviated below this larger profile and this smaller profile, as you guys know, this is the... Yeah, I'll be honest. This basically all stays the same. This all remains the same as what we were looking at on Matic last time. Key level of resistance is going to be this golden pocket 786. Right, 786 has the confluence with the weekly naked point of control and the point of control of the range here. Golden Pocket has confluence on that value area low. And our next key levels of support are sitting right down here, daily and monthly. Point of control sitting at 56 cents. And then just under that, at a weekly naked point of control, we have 51 cents or 0.5175 as your next key level. So if we did push down here, I would look for a reaction off of this level. If we could get a entry signal to go long here, we could potentially look for a position. If you lose this level, I would simply be looking down towards this level at 51 cents. But other than that, we just front ran this level, and more often than not, it's not that we never front run a level and then have price just go. But more often than not, at least in my experience with my levels, when we front run a level, we do eventually come down and actually tap that level. And it's like, it's only at that point where we're like, see, I knew it was front ran. I knew we should wait for that lower level. Very similar to Bitcoin. I'm not going to talk about the exact level here, but same thing on Bitcoin. We are bouncing off this golden pocket at $65,253. In the premium Discord, I'm actually watching a level slightly lower than this with very specific confirmations. And, more often than not, when we have a situation like that where I'm waiting for a lower level, even if we get a bounce like we did today, more often than not, we do come down and tap the actual setup that I'm looking for. Not that it's 100%, but that is just a situation that we were dealing with today, right? We're like, oh man, we front ran that setup. Like, should we just go long? Is that the move? It's very hard to say, but for me, I've just found it's much more profitable to just wait for the setup to hit, right? Instead of just trying to jump in on a front run, unless there's very specific reasons. But levels remain exactly the same. The reason why I would be looking at these 2 key levels of resistance as very important, guys, is because, again, just like everything else, 2-day money flow back in the red, 3-day money flow back in the red, 4-day looking to cross over into the red. So if this 2- and 3-day money flow is going to play out, and it is likely going to give us a continuation to the downside, very similar to what we saw here. First crossover into the red happened. At that point, any push to the upside is going to be looked at as lackluster to put in a lower high and continue and break structure to the downside, to continue the downtrend. And what happened here, right? Very similar to what we're looking at right here, but in more of a grand perspective, is you get the drop down, money flows in the red, so any bounce is considered to be lackluster to put a lower high and continue down. And where did that lower high come in? Right at the previous value area low, right? You break down, money flows in the red, you get a little pump back up, and you reject this level a few times, but where's that lower high come in? Simply put, it comes in at that value area low. So very similarly, any bounce we get to the upside here could be looked at as lackluster to potentially put another lower high in and then break structure once again to the downside, where your next target would be the weekly naked point of control at 51 cents. And, whether we reject the golden pocket or the 786 is a whole nother thing. But if we do get the short setups at these levels, it would be more likely than not that this would be a lower high for the continuation down. And very similar to how we came down and put the lower high here on the value area low, we could potentially come up here, put the lower high in at that value area low as well. Anytime you break out of a value area, that value area low that you lost is now key resistance. And not only key resistance, but the line in the sand to look for that potential next move up. Because if you flip it to support, it could easily call for a move back up to the high of the range. But if you get those short setups, which usually are pretty clear as you test, then you're probably more likely to get that move down. So hopefully that makes sense. This is why I look at the markets in terms of volume profiles. It makes it very clear and concise. All right, let's see. Bada boom. Shout out to Greg, said, I'm just here for the entertainment. I don't trade crypto. I just mine it. Shout out to Greg. Let's go. All right, let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Bada boom, bada bing. Let's see. Shout out to maybe a Band-Aid. What is going on? Nikki94 Boot checking in. What is going on? But let's go ahead and continue on. That is Matic, and that is everything I would be looking at on Matic. Let me just check the weekly real quick here. Yeah, VWAP. Yeah, nothing really to take away from money flow. Not looking that great, to be honest with you. Very interesting. Is this time going to be different? Maybe. All right, let's see. Let's see. What is going on right now? Shout out to Gusen. I don't know how to say that, but he said you'd certainly need that in case a skillet somehow finds its way to your forehead when happened to be around her mate. Shout out to Gusen. Sometimes I'm lost in chat, guys. I'm not going to lie. Crypto Maxi says, Frankie, you need to start rewatching the stream just for the chat. Yeah, I check in on the chat, and I'm like, hang on a second. What are they even referring to? We're not even talking about the same thing. Sometimes people be like, oh, my God, it's dumping. And I'm like, what's dumping? And they're not even talking about crypto. They're talking about, like, other kinds of dumps. But anyway, Elite Ways, what is going on, brother? He says, Frankie, what 2 indicators would you use if you have free trading view? What other one would go with Frankie Candle's Essentials? Shout out to Elite Ways. If I had to choose, right, and shout out to what he's talking about, Frankie Candle's Essentials is my indicator with Lux Algo, or in collaboration with Lux Algo. They built the indicator with my input. I did none of the coding. I want to be very clear about that. You would not want me coding your indicator. It would be a wonked out. But if I had to pick free indicators to pair with the Frankie Candle's Essentials, very simply put, first off, check out Lux Algo's free indicators. Guys, Lux Algo has 170 or something free indicators that are legitimately useful. Just search Lux Algo. Look at all these indicators. Most of these are free. Almost every one is free except for these. right? These are like the only ones that are not free. All these other ones without the locks are free. All very useful. We may actually start doing content where it's like reviewing free indicators, and Luxaga would give us like years of content there. But if I had to pick, very simply put, Frankie Candles Essentials, and I'll be honest with you, I think I am a true believer that if you are using the volume profiles, which Frankie Candles Essentials is, a volume profile, it's basically a souped-up volume profile with added features, right? We have automatic Fibonacci levels, automatic divergence detection, as well as the sauce can signals. So it is, but it uses a volume profile, fixed range volume profile. So if you're using the profiles, I am confident that if I were left with nothing, I mean, if I was left with just price action, I could trade the price action. But if I had to pick, Frankie Candles Essentials with a simple RSI could be absolutely killer, right? Because all you would need is the Frankie Candles Essentials gives you all the key levels based off the volume profile and the Fibonacci's. And if you have the RSI, which is a free indicator, this is what you could pull your divergences from. And then at that point, you're pretty sauced up with a pretty nice free setup. I'm not going to lie. Maybe you want to add, depending on your style, you want to add a little bit of, if you want to add some moving averages or something like that. But to be honest, Frankie Candles Essentials and the free RSI, if you have zero money to spend on indicators, I think that is an absolute killer combination. And it literally costs you nothing. And like, very powerful, right? Like extremely powerful. Sure, you can't do the money flow analysis. Sure, you miss out on some of the other stuff that you can get from premium indicators. But if I had no money if I had everything taken away from me, but I could keep Frankie Candles Essentials or just a volume profile even with a free RSI, I would be golden, right? Even if you couldn't use Fibonacci levels, because the Frankie Candles Essentials has the auto fib, right? So if you couldn't even use the Fibonacci retracement, the only other thing I would add into this if I had to, or if I was able to, would be Fibonacci levels, right? So fibs, profiles, and RSI is a fire-free setup in my personal opinion. So there you go. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Sam, says, Vu Manchu lacks accurate money flow. Kind of important. Yeah, Sam, that's my exact answer when people ask me, like, what can I look at instead of Market Cipher? I can't afford it. It's not that any of the other ones are completely useless. I actually talked about this today in the premium. It's not that the other ones are useless completely, but one of the biggest things I look at on Market Cipher is money flow. And if you compare the money flow on this and some of the other ones that are similar, the money flow is not the same. And this is one of the biggest things that I use to call for these moves, right? So I need to use this money flow. And part of the reason is I've been looking at this money flow for so long. I just really know, like, when it looks like it's going to fake out, I kind of just have a hunch. But yeah, anyway, let's go ahead and continue on. We took a look at Matic. Now let's go ahead and jump into Turbo, or as some people call it, Turbo. Bada boom, bada bing. Here we go. All right, let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Nyan, says, ETH, please. We actually did ETH in the beginning of the stream. We did Bitcoin, and then ETH was next. So if you scrub to the beginning of the stream until you see Bitcoin, and then just scrub until you see ETH, and then you can see the ETH analysis. But let's go ahead and Turbo. Shout out to Crypto Maxi. Let's take a look here on Turbo. Turbo time! It's Turbo time! Anyway, I don't think anyone will get that joke, but let's go ahead and continue on. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Okay, weekly red dot is confirmed. Freshly confirmed here. So again, could that give us more downside? Sure. We don't really have money flow on the weekly just yet, so a little hard to call that. 3-day money flow kind of coming out looking somewhat similar to everything else. Yeah, daily is, woo, look at that VWAP on the daily. Has been below that zero line for 20 days. Wow, that is a long time to be below that zero line. So, yeah, this is an interesting chart. 16-hour money flow crossover into the red. Excuse me. 12-hour money flow crossover into the red. Ew, baby, this is a little scary. And I'll tell you why. That money flow crossing over into the red in the 12 and 16-hour would likely indicate a downtrend is going to continue. The reason that scares me is because of this right here. This is likely a gigantic volume gap, which means if you break below these levels, come on, volume, come on, there we go. If you break below these lows here, very likely you will break into this low volume gap. Actually, very interesting. I would not have guessed that these would be as high, as significant as they are, right? So you do actually have a little bit of support on the way down, but for the most part, high volume, and then this is mostly a gap. Again, you do have those little levels here, so it's not like there's nothing, but I would be careful. Typically, when you have these quick moves up, even if you're not looking at the volume profile, typically, when you have these big moves up and you break that structure, oftentimes it does end up being a quick move back to the downside, right? So I would be very, very careful with that. But let's go ahead and see what we can do here. It's kind of, I'll be honest, it's kind of hard to pull a range here for the most part. Let me pull it from here to the high. Bada boom. Yeah, so I would definitely watch this 786 sitting right here. Come on. Bada boom. Let me mark that 786 sitting at, I'm not going to butcher that number. You guys can read that. I don't want to give you the wrong information because that's very easy to miss-see. But that 786, if we lose that golden pocket decisively, probably your next stop on price is likely going to be that 786, which would be, not the most pleasant, 24% dump to the downside. And to be quite honest with you, I'm going to pull some naked points of control here as well. But yeah, I mean, even if I pull this right before that big breakout, yeah, I'll be honest, it's not, I would be a little concerned about that gap. Again, you have those little levels in between. Let me pull up the naked points of control really quick. Let's see. Yeah, so you have a monthly naked point of control right here. Bada boom. You got another one down here. Take a look at the weekly. All right. You got a weekly MPOC sitting right here. Bada boom. And then you also have a weekly up here. This is worth noting. That's a monthly. I want this. That would be worth watching, in my opinion. And then let's take a look at the daily MPOCs. Oh, yeah. Yikes. Okay. Yeah, not much here, I'll be honest. Not really that much. There's no weeklies. There's no monthlies. There's no dailies even. So, yeah, you start losing that 786, in my opinion, probably going to cause a bigger move down towards this weekly and monthly naked point of control where we have this previous volume profile. So, yeah, I would definitely be looking at this as key support if you do get a big breakdown, but this as well. Like, you really want to hold this 786, if I'm being honest. You really want to hold that 786. You break below that, probably going to get a bigger move down, at least to that weekly naked point of control. And then again, taking a look at these higher time frames, money flow is not in the best shape on the 12 or 16 hour, which would easily be able to bring you down to these levels, at least this one, if not lower. So that's what I look at on Turbo. Definitely dancing with fire here, in my own personal opinion. And if we pull this, yeah, this volume profile is a little wonked out. I don't really love this profile either. Yeah, I would say, yeah, I wouldn't even look at that. This is what I'd be looking at on Turbo. Those are the key levels, in my own personal opinion. Money flow, not looking great on the 12 and 16 hour. So, with all that being said, shout out to Crypto Maxi. He said, great TA. Thanks, Frankie. No problemo, Crypto Maxi. I got you. Let's see. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Yo, shout out to Tyler Durden. Said short stream. And actually, I was going to say, I think that's the last altcoin that we're going to be looking at tonight because that is the last one on our list. However, if you guys remember, we have two other coins that I want to help out our boy Singularity. Singularity, are you still in the chat? Let us know. We took a look at, we already took a look at Big Time. I can go a little deeper into that. I can get a couple more out of the way here. Let me take a quick look at ICP. Or actually, let's take a look at Render. I don't know if we're going to be able to take a look at both of these, but let's take a quick look at Render, or Render, as your grandmother might call it. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Bada boom, bada bing. Okay, just looking for my current chart here. Is the Bybit chart? Come on. I know we have a Render chart. Binance USD. Okay, this will work. Okay, so here we are at a weekly naked point of control. Okay, it's happening. It's happening. Oh, my God. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. Nobody panic. Nobody panic. Let me get my bearings here. All right, weekly, 6 day. This all looks gross. And by gross, I mean just like really not clear. Not gross isn't bearish, but the 2-day is looking bearish as far as money flow goes. So yeah, what I am going to do here is I'm going to get rid of, although this has been our handy dandy range, right? As you lost the range, came back up, flipped that value area low to the POC, value area high, back to the low, deviation, back to the POC, back to the high, back to the low. I'm going to get rid of this because this is more local now. And what I will do is I will actually just go ahead and pull this whole dang thing as a range. Bada boom, and we'll see what this gives us. Okay, so this would kind of be the macro or more higher term range or higher time frame range that I would be looking at with your bada boom, with your value area high, POC, value area low, right? And yeah, I mean, here we are, deviating below the value area low once again. So this does give us the opportunity to look for long positions to potentially reapproach the value area low, flip it to support, go to the POC, and go to the value area high. The question is, are we getting a reason to long here? And the answer is, I wouldn't say there's no reason, but I would say that it is not the strongest. And the reason for that is money flow, right? Sure, we have our bullish divergence, higher lows on our momentum waves, lower lows on our price action into a key level of support, which is typically what you want to see. You want to see those divergences into a key level of support. But for the reason of this money flow kind of not giving us super clear direction, it's just kind of down, back up, back down. It's kind of slowly trending up, but it's not really giving us that nice curvature that we like to see. I wouldn't put that much weight on it, to be honest. But, once that next 4-hour green dot prints, maybe we get a move to the upside, which then puts your key level of resistance sitting. I would say the local level of resistance would be sitting probably from that high. Remember, once you break down below that value area low, that does become key resistance. Bada boom. Turn it into shorts. There we go. So your key level of resistance here, if you do get a bounce off this 4-hour bull div, which again, based off money flow, doesn't look the prettiest, but it is there. If you do get the move up, I would look at this as your key level of support, resistance, not only an area where you could just get a rejection and come lower, but also if you flip that 786, this could open up the door to get a bigger move up to that POC, getting closer to 1096. So that is what I'd really be looking at on render. Let's take a look at some of these lower time or higher time frames. Yeah, 8-hour bull div potentially looking to print there as well. Your 10-hour looking to print, 12-hour red dot printing. Yeah, I'll be honest. Like, you are getting the 4-hour bull div, but with the way that 12-hour red dot is printing and that 16-hour red dot, was that 1-hour money flow doing? Come on. Is it coming out? Is it coming out? Oh, is that a blood diamond? Oh, God, how is that not a blood diamond? But yeah, money flow back in the red on the 1 hour here with a fresh 16-hour red dot. Not a long I would take. Doesn't mean that it won't play out, but definitely not necessarily a trade that I would be looking to take. The one thing that you do have playing at your favor here is the fact that that divergence is coming in at the macro 786 retracement of this entire move up here. So if you were going to put a higher low in here, this makes this level of support extremely important, because if you are going to put the higher low and continue the move up, this would be where that would come in, right? So if you lose that 786, that's kind of the line in the sand for more downside, in my opinion. So not the prettiest confirmations. They are there, but they're not pretty in my opinion. So yeah, I would not take that long, but it doesn't mean it can't play out. But again, if you don't get that bounce and you lose that 786, that's the doorway to lower prices, in my opinion. But that is what I'd be looking at on render. And let's take a quick look at ICP, or ICUP, as some people like to say. And I will just do this quick and dirty. We'll pull our range here. Go ahead and mark it out fresh with a nice little box there. Bada boom. Turn it neutral. Mark out the high, POC, and the low. And kind of similar, right? Like, this is typically where, the deviation below the range, this is where we like to look for longs. And like the first thing you like to see, it's not the only thing I like to see to take the long position, but kind of what you want to start to see at these deviations is you want to start seeing bullish divergences. And then if you can get money flow and other things to kind of cooperate with that, that's where you can look for the moves. However, this fresh 16-hour red dot, fresh 12-hour red dot, 1 hour money flow kind of crossing into the green, but kind of wonked out there. 45-minute money flow also wonked out. Not necessarily the nicest confirmation. Do you have the bull divs? Yeah, you are about to put a bullish divergence in. Let me check the naked points of control really quick. Gonna have to change the settings probably. Let's see. Bada boom. Change this to number of rows. There we go. So, yeah, we have taken out this monthly naked point of control, but we are below it, right? So, I will mark this out as it is. It is tapped, but I will mark this out just so we can get an eye on it on the lower time frames. Monthly MPOC, weekly, no naked point of control. Daily, yeah, okay. So, we are tapping this daily naked point of control, right? So, this is actually definitely a key level of support, right? So, if I hide this stuff again, yeah, this is... Woo, baby, this is a little bit sketch. So, yeah, if you were to put a 4-hour bull div into a daily naked point of control, and again, remember, we do need that green dot to print on the 4-hour for this to be legit, but if that green dot prints, I do think it is going to be more likely to get some kind of at least short-term bounce on ICP, and then if you could flip this monthly naked point of control, that could give you the door to open up to the value area low coming in at 1028, and then at this point, that's going to be key resistance, but if you can get back above that zone, that's where you're looking for the bigger move up. So, yeah, you're putting in a 4-hour bull div, potentially about to print here at a key level of support, but again, with a fresh 16-hour red dot, and the way some of these other higher time frames are looking, it's not the most beautiful setup in my opinion, but it doesn't mean it can't play out. It is there. Just not all the boxes are checked for me. Not all the boxes are checked for me if I were looking to enter a trade on ICP. So there is ICP and what I would be looking at on ICP. But with all that being said, guys, I think that is all the time we got for tonight's live stream. I appreciate every shout out to Seth said, please dump on me. I am buying. Yeah, shout out to Seth. Like I said on a stream last week, guys, I am honestly, like, everybody is afraid of the moves to the downside. I'm actually more concerned about getting a move up. Like, I would rather get a dump right now to potentially fill up some more bags. Like, I am always scared of the opposite of what everyone else is scared of, right? Everyone doesn't want price to dump, and I'm like, no, we want price to come down a little bit. Let me pick up some more alts. But, yeah, shout out to press the red button and let's dump it. Let's dump it over one time before going up. Shout out to Nyan. I would absolutely love that. So shout out to you. And shout out to Dave Digital. What is going on? He said, Papa Smurf. Let's go. But with all that being said, shout out to Seth said for sure, Frankie, this is good, right? Yeah, shout out to Seth. I'm not, like I said, right? If I just pull up the chart here one more time. For anybody who's nervous out there, right? I want you guys, and especially if you're new to the market, there's nothing wrong with this, right? There's nothing wrong about being new to crypto. That's why I always say there's never a stupid question, right? Like, you have to ask the question to somebody. So never feel like there's any dumb questions, guys. But I do just want to say, very simply put, if you are nervous of price coming down here, very, very, very simple, right? Take a zoom out, right? When in doubt, zoom out. When you're panicking, zoom out. This is what everyone's freaked out over right now. I mean, this is crazy. Everyone's freaked out over this, right? And I'm thinking, like, hey, let's at least come down to the value area low. Let's at least come down to the range low here. I'm not, like, scared at all, right? Like, let's not forget that. We are in a massive long-term uptrend, and even if we were to get an even bigger move down and break these lows, price is not just automatically bearish forever, right? So just zoom out, right? We are in a massive high time frame uptrend. And this little move down is what people are freaking out about right now. I do not think this is like the end of the bull market or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I'm more scared of just ripping to the upside. I'm actually going to get a little bit more mad if we rip out of nowhere rather than if we dump out of nowhere. So there you go, guys. With all that being said, that's all the time I got for tonight's live stream. I appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in and sticking around till the end. And we will go ahead and continue on with this analysis tomorrow. Hopefully, price moves. Hopefully we are not in the same spot tomorrow, because that's going to be an absolutely brutal live stream. We'll have to start taking a look at stocks or something, or maybe just take a look at gold, or maybe we could paint the new Frankie Candles backdrop and just watch the paint dry, because that's basically what we're dealing with right now. But with all that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Smash the like button on your way out if you have not already, and I will see you guys tomorrow, same place, same time, right here, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right on the Frankie Candles YouTube channel. That's all I got. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
What's next for me, Joe? I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the f is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Space shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, though they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. do not mess with you, dog, you not kidding me. You don't got way, way too close. I been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in mine, yeah.
Well, shout out to a few people in chat. K Diggity's one of them. Looking for some NVIDIA sauce, specifically potential new all-time highs for NVIDIA. And I say, I'll give you the sauce right now if you ask for it. Here we are on the NVIDIA chart. And guys, I will say there is a super secret, special, super secret target up here at 154.54 for NVIDIA. If it keeps breaking to the upside, I do think this is likely going to be one of the next stops. If this thing absolutely just keeps exploding to the upside, I mean, this thing is straight up looking like Bitcoin right now. But if this thing continues to break out, I will be looking at this target. I'm just joking about it being super secret. It's simply just a Fibonacci extension level here. As you guys can see, it is pulled from this high to this low. We've come in, got a little turbulence on our first zone here, right? I'll just draw this out as resistance, right? You come on in. Resistance level number 1 got snagged up here a little bit. You'd have to go to a lower time frame to see it. But I'll turn on the Heikinashi candles to smooth things. But that next stop to the upside, and right now we are hitting resistance on this next Fibonacci extension zone. But here is this 3618 sitting right up here at 154.54. So if this thing breaks again and gets another big move to the upside, I do think 154.54 is going to be in the cards. And with all that being said, guys, I got to get on the phone with my cousin Satoshi and see if he can move this thing and see if he can move Bitcoin a little bit so we can have an exciting stream tomorrow. But that's all the time I got for tonight. I'll see you guys tomorrow, same place, same time, right here, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Frank Candles YouTube channel. That's all I got. Frank Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the roll, here we go, yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like, yeah, you about to see me on demand, like, you know, on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, man, we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't ever going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the roll, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the